Good evening. Welcome to the forum for the Delta County Board of Commissioners. And we'd like to thank you. I'm Pat Rudden with the Delta County League of Women Voters, and we appreciate your attendance, whether in person or online. The candidates' remarks tonight will only address their own views and platforms regarding the office they're seeking. Candidates won't be interrupting each other, and no personal attacks or statements implying other candidates' views will be allowed. If that happens, our moderator, Shannon Taylor, will be interrupting that candidate and asking them to redirect their answers. Candidates may have written data with them or they may have notes, but no electronic devices will be allowed. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan organization, which means we do not support or oppose any political candidate, and that's a big part of what we do here and what the AAUW does with their organization as well. We had a wonderful reply to our request for questions for our candidates today. Unfortunately, we received so many, we will not be able to address all of the questions. So if you've submitted one, please try not to be disappointed if it's not asked as part of our group today. We ask that the candidates and anyone involved with their campaigns not to use any of the audio or video from this forum tonight, unless the only exemption to that is if they post a link.
I'm sorry. Unfortunately, nobody's hearing you because you're not on a microphone.
Oh.
So would you mind starting over, doing it right here? Or just doing it on one of these?
Welcome, everyone, to the Delta County Board of Commissioners Candidate Forum. Thank you for your attendance tonight. This forum is sponsored by the Delta County League of Women Voters and the American Association of University Women. The League is a nonpartisan organization, so that means we do not support or oppose any political candidates. We've asked that our candidates address only their views and platforms tonight for the office they're seeking. Candidates shouldn't be interrupting each other, and there should be no personal attacks or statements implying another candidate's views. The Delta County League of Women Voters also does not cover any issues involving the character of candidates. We attempt to highlight the positions of the candidates and the policies they would promote as elected officials. Candidates might have some written information with them that they can refer to, that's allowed. However, they are not allowed to use any electronic devices, charts, graphs, or any other visuals during the presentation. Additionally, we ask that candidates and others in their campaigns not use the audio or video from this forum for campaign material or advertising. It is allowed to link the forum in its entirety to campaigns or other media outlets. Of course, the media is always exempt from using from those limitations. We received many questions, and we thank everyone for their interest in this forum. However, we've received so many that we will not be able to address them all this evening. And if you submitted something and we're not able to address it, we apologize for that. But once again, we thank you for attending both in person or in virtually. And I would like to note that when we start our questions, we're going to start with District 3, Mr. Bob Barron. And then each time we start a new question, we'll rotate to a different speaker so everyone will have their time going first. So I hope you'll find this forum very informative and helpful in your voting decisions. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the Candidates Forum. My name is Shannon Taylor and I will serve as tonight's moderator. This forum is sponsored by the Delta County League of Women Voters and the American Association of University Women. We recognize that our decision to host a closed forum for the May 7th recall election may have been unexpected, but was made after much deliberation. Before making that decision, we reached out to the State of Michigan League for guidance. Other leagues have held closed forums that have been very successful. We want to offer all the candidates an opportunity to respond to questions without distraction. We do not want to be in the position of possibly suspending the forum. More importantly, we felt that by providing a live stream option and the opportunity to submit questions prior to and during the forum, we can engage a much larger audience. The forum will be recorded and reposted, allowing for an even wider audience. The League of Women Voters is a nonpartisan, which means that we do not support or oppose any political party or candidate. Candidates' remarks will only address their views and platforms regarding the office they are seeking. Candidates will not interrupt each other. No personal attacks or statements implying another candidate's views are allowed. The Delta County League of Women Voters does not cover issues involving the character of candidates. We attempt to highlight the positions of the candidates and the policies they would promote as elected officials. The moderator will stop the speaker from such references and ask candidates to keep responses to his or her own positions. I will now introduce the candidates for the recall election and explain the specific rules of the forum. We welcome the candidates and thank you for participating. The candidates will make a 1-minute opening statement followed by responses to audience questions. The responses are also 1 minute. It will be a rotating response order. Candidates will be given 1 minute to respond to each of the questions asked. A beep will sound when 60 seconds are up, and the timer will also hold up a red card when your time has elapsed. Please refer to the timer in the front row. Then the question will go to the next candidate, and the forum will end with each candidate giving a 1-minute closing statement. During the forum, candidates are asked to respond only to the questions asked by the moderator. Please be respectful of other candidates. However, candidates are free to address any appropriate issue during opening and closing remarks. Audience members are free to submit as many questions as they would like. As many questions as time permits will be read and answered. I now would like to introduce the candidates for County District 3. Robert Barron, Myra Croasdell. The candidates for County District 4, Dave Moyle, Kelli vanGinhoven. And finally, the candidates for County District 5, Robert Petersen and Matt Jensen. Now, if our candidates have no questions, we will proceed with opening statements. Candidate Barron, welcome. You have the floor for 1 minute, beginning now.
Thank you, Shannon. Thank the League of Women Voters and the American Association of University Women for having this forum. I'd introduce myself. I am a commissioner at present and would like to continue having that position. As we're under this recall, it's something new, I think, for our area. And I think that the people that will be listening tonight, and I thank them for listening to and watching tonight, that they will see the three of us that have been under recall have been under attack for 16 months, and that we've been able to do the job for the county in that entire period of time in spite of all that's taken place. So with that, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
Yes, I would like to thank everybody for attending at video or in person. I'm here because I need a change for Delta County. It's headed in the wrong direction. And as the 16 months with the recall and everything, we need to come together. We need to let each district have their voice, have a person that can be their voice. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
I'd like to thank the League of Thank you so much. My name is Dave Moyle. I've served you in District 4 now for about 13 and a half years, and I've seen a lot of positive things going on in Delta County. It's been a difficult 16 months, but I would like to bring this to the attention of voters. On November the 8th of 2022, you overwhelmingly put me in my 7th term of office. You elected Mr. Barron and Mr. Petersen, who all ran as conservatives. No big surprise there. We've tried to govern as conservatives, and we've moved the county forward. I'm proud of the accomplishments that we've made. I'm proud that Ashley is our administrator. I'm proud of what we were able to do for the airport, and we are slowly tackling the issues of the county bit by bit. I think we could have got a lot more done if we weren't constantly having conflict. And so I'm looking forward, hopefully, to finishing my term and trying to see what else I can do for the citizens of this county. I look forward to talking to you tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Hi, good evening. Thank you for having me this evening for the candidate forum. My name is Kelli vanGinhoven. I am running for County Commissioner in District 4 on the Democratic ticket. Over the last 2.5 years, I have put a lot of time, effort, and energy into getting to know my district, which is the greater city of Escanaba. I am very open-minded. I have a listening ear. I am a calm voice. I want to be a voice for all. I want to end the divisiveness. I believe that I have an excellent plan to move that the county forward, and I look forward to sharing some of my ideas with you this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Thank you. Thank you to the League of Women Voters for once again hosting the forum. My name is Matt Jensen. I will be running in District 5. I was born and raised here in Delta County. I spent 23 years in the U.S. military, and then I retired, moved back here. Most of that time that I spent in my military service was in leadership positions. Also, formerly, I was a Wells Township supervisor. I bring a large knowledge of how to work with small groups all the way up to large, diverse groups, and to be able to move forward towards our common goals that we have and stop where we're being so divisive right now. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
That started up about 14 years ago, I believe, if I remember correctly. And we went from 5 people meeting at Jack's Restaurant when it was still here. And when I stepped down last year, we were right around 300 members. We had lobbied in Lansing and Delta County. I'm a former business owner. I've had, I was early years was a waiter for the second largest restaurant in the world. I ran and owned and managed a local motel. Sorry, the beepings. Anyway, I would like to continue to be your representative in Delta County. Thank you.
Thank you. That concludes opening statements. We will now proceed with questions submitted from the audience. Since the opening statement began with Candidate Barron, we will now move on to Candidate Croasdell to answer the first audience question. Candidate Croasdell, this is a 2-part question. Why are you seeking this seat, and what do you consider the biggest challenge facing the county?
Why I'm seeking this seat is I see so much, I don't know if you want to call it disarray in the county commissioners in Delta County. So much turmoil, things that are not properly being done. Just that's what I see, and I want the District 3 and the people of Delta County to have a voice, and a voice that will work with the other commissioners and to build a stronger Delta County. Second part, please, again.
What do you consider the biggest challenge facing the county?
What I consider the biggest challenge in Delta County, first would be the housing. Second, I would believe maybe more of the airport. I know that there's been reports, everything's okay. I was at the meeting. I know that Mr. Ron Stadler has a lot on his plate, a lot to prioritize. So my top one would be the housing for all income levels.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
Yes, thank you. Why I'm seeking I got to turn on my microphone. I believe less government is better government. I don't believe money grows on the money tree, and I am very serious about making sure that the taxes that we pay for services, that the citizens of this county get very good services. You know, case in point is the new jail. We were letting felons out because of overcrowding. The people authorized that. We took the bull by the horns, and I think Delta County is a safer place now. You can say the same about the veterans. We're going to do some things to help them. Say the things about the overall county infrastructure. I want to make sure that the county, their employees, get brought up to a better pay grade so we can be more competitive. What is the biggest stumbling block for the county? Well, right now, if you were to watch the meetings, you would say people's inability to get along. At the end of the day, we should be all Americans. I remember when Tip O'Neill and Ron Reagan used to beat the heck out of each other on the House floor, and they'd go have a meal. They'd go have a beer. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Can you please repeat the question?
Sure. Why are you seeking this seat, and what do you consider the biggest challenge facing the county?
I am seeking this seat because I love my community and I think I can do a better job. I think that the greatest challenge that we're facing in Delta County is the fact that we are understaffed for our employees, and the staff that we do have are overworked and undercompensated. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Thank you, ma'am. Based off of all my other experience, my military experience, and my experience in prior elected office, I'm also a small business owner. I get the financial piece. I deal with it every single day. I know I can do a better job at being able to create a more cohesive group that is more sound and also lets the people speak again. There's several things that would have to happen in there. One of the other things that was mentioned, it's no secret where I stand as a veteran. And to see how long our VSO has gone unfunded, and for a veterans council that's been on the books for, well, since its inception, that's never been staffed, is one of the first things I'm going to look at fixing. That's gone on far too long. Our airport, we know where that's at. It's had great strides. It should never have gotten there. Again, it's a matter of relaying the information back. Thank you.
Thank you. And Candidate Petersen?
Can you repeat the question one more time?
Why are you seeking this seat, and what do you consider the biggest challenge facing the county?
Okay. I'm seeking this seat to stay in this seat. I've been very active over the last 15, 16 months working for the county. I've taken a real hands-on approach to all my committees. Whenever anybody called me, like take the fairgrounds, the fair board, or the airport, and said, hey, we need to talk to you, I dropped what I had going and I went out and talked to them. I've spent a lot of time. I feel that a commissioner needs to spend a little more time than just the hour that you have at your committees so that you can understand what's going on in the county, so that when there's a vote, you're well educated. My goal staying in is to continue the work I've done. I've worked hard at attracting people to put in more housing. I'm a real estate agent and an ex-general contractor, and I know that there is a huge lack of housing for middle class and upper middle class, and not to say that there isn't for lower income housing, but that's the priorities I have.
Thank you. Moving on to our next question, we're going to begin with Candidate Moyle. Candidate Moyle, what is the county's role in economic development? Are there any specific initiatives you would champion to enhance Delta County's economic development?
Absolutely. The county gets its revenue on top of taxation through expanding tourism and through bringing manufacturing in. People begin businesses because they want to make money. That's not a dirty thing, okay? Profit is a good thing. Capitalism is a good thing. We can attract business here, and we have tried to Delta County through very aggressive targeted tax breaks. If somebody is going to start a business, we can make it attractive for them to start it here. I'd like you to think about our parks as being a tool for tourism. In 2010, they were in falling down shape. Now they're a destination. When people come to our parks, they spend money here at the gas stations, the stores, some of the restaurants, you name it, they're coming into the county. There's commerce there. So we need to make sure that our parks stay a destination, but it was thinking outside the box that turned them into a destination in the first place. We have to be aggressive when it comes to giving tax breaks to corporations. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Thank you. Having served on the City of Escanaba Downtown Development Authority for the last 2 years, I have seen that small businesses deserve a fair shake when it comes to tax breaks, incentives, things of that nature that we don't see right now. I would collaborate again with the Escanaba Downtown Development Authority, Ed Legault at the EDA, to see how we can bring more development into the area. I believe that not knowing everything, that I don't have to know everything, I just have to know people who know everything, and therefore their specific things, and then we can work together to collaborate. I think we're on the precipice of something really great here in Delta County. I think that the current board has done a great job of pushing people away because of their divisiveness, for their negative connotations towards DEI. I think that we can do a much better job with a new group of commissioners in, and it's going to be my job to help collaborate. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Thank you. One of the things that starts with small business, and that moves forward. But the biggest thing is we need to make this place a destination, the entire county, whether that's through what we have for tourism, expanding on that tourism. When people stop, then they're shopping locally. When they start shopping locally, then they're more apt to come back. They're also more apt to bring their businesses back, which also helps increase the housing that we have a shortfall. When I was the township supervisor in Wells, I continued the work of my predecessor to actually expand the sewer and water program from the city of Escanaba all the way out to where, past Jeff's Glass, out past the terrace, and all the way back in. Why? Because that's the single largest area we have here that's open and viable for economic growth. And it's one of those I spent countless hours with both our elected officials at the state and federal level, as well as the USDA, to help move that forward. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Again, could you repeat?
Yes. What is the county's role in economic development? Are there any specific initiatives you would champion to enhance Delta County's economic development?
Yes, as I was saying earlier, housing is very important in this community right now. There's a very good chance that we're going to have approximately 2,000 general contractors and managers and executives coming to Delta County here shortly. We don't have any place to put them. From what I understand, if we don't come up with a housing solution for them, when they get here, there won't be a hotel room, a camp spot, a VRBO left open anywhere in the state or anywhere in the county. And so that's very important that we get the housing going. One of the first acts that I did as a commissioner was go to Lansing with 6 other people to lobby to get funding for the very sewer and water project that my competitor here was talking about. We went down, we spent a whole day down there, we lobbied, we talked to all the people down there to see if we couldn't get that going. We're still working on that.
Thank you. And we're going to skip the rotating order for just a moment. So we're going to pose this question to Candidate Croasdell. And then we're going to jump back to candidate Barron, as he missed the opportunity to answer the previous question. So candidate Croasdell, if you need me to repeat the question, what is the county's role in economic development? Are there any specific initiatives you would champion to enhance Delta County's economic development?
Delta County's economic development is tourism, to keep our parks the way that they are, keep them a destination. Small businesses bring in different things to the area. Just don't shut down on a Sunday night at 5 o'clock and don't open back up till 10 o'clock the next day for tourism. We have to keep the money coming into Delta County. We need to keep it here by like our parks and the mom and pop shops and the small businesses and different things that are here, the tax exceptions, I can't talk. Just stuff like that. It needs to be done here in Delta County.
Thank you. And candidate Petersen, I'll request that you answer the current question, and then we'll jump back to the question, Barron. And then we'll jump back to the previous question. So what is the county's role in economic development? Are there any specific initiatives you would champion to enhance Delta County's economic development?
I'm not trying to burn the place down, I promise.
Okay.
Go ahead, whenever you're ready.
Make sure Mike's not up.
All right. The economic development, the county board has worked in that area already, especially with the solar ordinance that was put into effect in '22. We have a major growth of a project taking place in Baldwin and Schoolcraft, or not Schoolcraft, but Maple Ridge Townships. If things are online, it may be fully going by the end of next year. It's probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $150 to $250 million investment in the county. It's also to work with some of the other entities in the county that have chased away projects, unfortunately. And tourism is a big factor here, which is a good thing. But this past winter showed you how weak tourism can be when we don't get snow and warm weather. So we have to have some solid industries, different things that are here year-round. Not just tourism is great, but it has to have something additionally here that keeps the people going in up and down times. So, thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Barron, again, our apologies for missing you on that first rotation. So I will go ahead and obviously repeat that question. So if you can just let folks know why you are seeking the seat and what you consider the biggest challenge facing the county.
Well, I do have the seat right now. I'd like to continue in that basis. As far as the biggest challenge that I see happening to the county, and it's been demonstrated over the last 16 months that we've got to get our people better informed as to what actually governance is and what their parts as citizens are as part of that. We've seen situations, especially at our meetings, where the board has been functioning, but the people in the audience have not functioned in a manner that's respective of a constitutional representative republic. They've quite often, it's not the whole audience, but it's enough of them that operate under the guise of a mob and wanting their way and wanting it right now. We need to really tweak our education system locally to teach what our foundation is. Unfortunately, we haven't done that, and we haven't done a very good job of it, and so we have a lot of people that are missing out on what we are. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question, we're going to start with candidate vanGinhoven. In regard to recent concerns at the Delta County Airport, do you think the situation has been resolved? What lessons have we learned from these issues, and what should be done in the future to avoid such issues again?
Do I believe the issues at the airport have been resolved? I never believed that there were issues to begin with. Second of all, I feel that our current airport manager is doing a good job. I've developed a great rapport with Mr. Randstatler. I think that he is extremely underpaid for his position. I believe our former airport administrator was severely underpaid for her position. How do we ensure that it doesn't happen again? Like I said earlier, what happened? We were never given a clear idea of what had happened, and I believe that this current board did set something in place where they said the FAA inspections, have to be reported to the board, but they always had been to the airport to the airport advisory board. There's 2 commissioners that sit on that airport advisory board that could have reported back to the county board. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Yeah, one of the things I look at, and I too have sat down with our current airport manager, and also as a fellow military individual that spent his whole career in aviation, understand what he's doing. We also have to look at what their staff is out there, and also how many of those are getting ready to retire here real soon. So this isn't something that's going to start and stop. There needs to be a strategic goal set up for the airport with very measurable goals that you can check off your milestones as you go, because if it's not on paper, we're not going to get to those goals. The other part is, if you're on one of those boards, you need to be able to come back and you have to regularly report after your meetings to the rest of the commissioners. There's no reason that anybody should say they don't know something's going on one of those boards when you're on one of those committees. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Yes, I am actually on the airport board. I spend a lot of time out there. It's something I came into without a lot of knowledge. I felt I needed to learn. I've been out there. I have not missed a meeting for the airport board yet, and I go out there several times each month to just see how things are going. Our airport was an administrative crisis. It was in bad shape. We hired Robert Randstadler and Robin Morrison. They came in, they've done a very, very good job. I'm very proud of them. I'm also proud of our administrator, Ashley Young, for what she has done to help out there. But there's more to do. We have not got all the issues resolved. We haven't got into today's problems because we've been dealing with yesterday's problems, but they're moving ahead quickly. I see a great future for our airport. I think that our current management out there is doing a good job. He's got great ideas. I've talked with him many, many times. And I'm real proud of what has happened in the last couple of months at the airport. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
Yes, as far as the airport issue is concerned, there was a meltdown of the previous management at the airport, and the report that has been released to the public, the synopsis or the summary, because of security issues, the whole report cannot be released because of FAA situation there, security issues, clearly shows that there was a tremendous breakdown in the management that was there. We were in short order of being shut down. And had the board, and it was a 3-2 vote, had not stepped up and said, we're gonna have an investigation, we need to find out what the problem is here and get to the bottom of it, I think FAA would have shut us down. Once they realized that we were serious about what we wanted to get done, that we wanted to find out what the problem was, they gave our new airport manager, Bob Randstadler, the time to finish, and he has done a yeoman's job. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
Could you repeat the question, please?
In regard to recent concerns at the Delta County Airport, do you think the situation has been resolved? What lessons have we learned from these issues, and what should be done in the future to avoid such issues again?
As far as the concerns, not a lot of information was given out about that, so I'm not sure exactly what the crisis was. However, like I had spoke before, I have been to the airport advisory board meetings. I have talked to Mr. Ronstadler, and he has a lot on his plate that he has to get through to get prioritized. The fuel truck, the tanker, is very old. How are they going to get a new one? Is it to buy one out? Is it to do a lease? I think things will go forward with Mr. Ronstadler. I think he is going to do the job and get everything done. However, I do believe too that he is very much underpaid for what he has taken on at that airport. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
The situation, the administrative crisis, has been resolved. In regard to it being manufactured, the FAA would not issue letters of noncompliance to something that was farcical or didn't exist. I've seen the letters. The Airport Advisory Board advises. That's all it does. The airport manager reports to the county administrator, not to the county board. So Mr. Ronstadler sent the feds approximately 700 documents in order to bring us back into compliance. This just shouldn't happen overnight. The letters of noncompliance go back to 2021. The advisory board gives advice that it's all it does. And we appreciate that advice. Now, what we've set forward is a policy that manager will have to come before the county board every year. The advisory board is not responsible to the citizens of Escanaba. The county board, or Delta County, the county board is. And so it was very real, and we could have been in a real pickle. I believe that we dodged a bullet and that we could have lost our airport. And I'm very grateful to Ronstadler and Robin for what they've done.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen, our next question starts with you. In the past, the Delta County Prosecutor's Office represented the county in legal matters. Recently, the county hired an outside attorney to serve as primary legal counsel. Do you agree with the county's current legal counsel structure? Why or why not?
No, I don't currently agree with the way that's done. There's precedent and statute that goes for the prosecutor having that role. And it's one of those that you have to also look at. If they can't do that or it's outside their scope, they're going to say so. They're going to approach that and bring that forward. So to have a third-party attorney that you're paying to begin with, when you already have a prosecutor's office that's more than capable of doing that, that would be one of the things that I would look at changing, is going back to that, the prosecutor being that primary. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Yes, I voted to hire Scott Graham as our attorney for the county. I felt that he was much more qualified. He'd been an attorney for I don't know how many years, but I had interviewed him, and I thought that he was a very bright person. There has been several cases that our prosecuting attorney couldn't have done for conflict of interest. That's been passed on to Scott Graham. Thank God we have him here for those. The airport, for instance, he did a complete examination and investigation into the airport. We could not have had the prosecutor do that, because that would have been a conflict of interest. So having Scott Graham was very important to us, I think. And as far as having the prosecuting attorney, I'm not sure when it was, but that's only been for a limited time. Delta County had an outside attorney for a long time before that.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
Just to add to Commissioner Petersen's, it was in 2019 is when the prosecutor's office was asked to do the legal work in Delta County, and at the time our administrator was Phil Strom, who had just come from the prosecutor's office. I think that was the reason that took place. Before that, we had used a corporate attorney. The time before that, or at least a period, was Terry Burkhart, his law firm, and did an excellent job. It's a question of what you do in your particular practice. If in the legal fields, like any other field, you use teachers as an example. You have teachers that are specialists in areas. That's what they do. And the prosecutor's specialty is to prosecute. And time taken away from the prosecutor to do county work is time that's not used to take care of the prosecuting of those that are not following the laws. And that's the experience there. This experience that Scott Graham brought was immense. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
No, I do not agree with them hiring Scott Graham. I believe they should have done it through the prosecuting attorney's office, the way that it should have been, and give her the opportunity to tell them that if this was a conflict of interest or not. Instead of they just rerouted against her, went right to Scott Graham, and that they didn't even give her a chance to say that it was or was not a conflict of interest.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
Well, my first 9 years on the commission, we used Burkhart and Associates. That was expensive, but they saved us more money, so we actually made money on it. The prosecutor is elected to prosecute, okay? She is inundated right now with files that she hasn't got time to get to. If we have her be our civil attorney, we're shortchanging the people of Delta County because they deserve an active prosecutor. Keep in mind, Graham was the only attorney that responded to the RFP. Now, if there had been 3 locals and we selected Graham, yeah, I could see outrage. But he was death by association. Since I wanted him in because I saw the man work and he's phenomenal, nobody else responded. Let's do it. Lauren Wickman is our prosecutor. She is not the civil attorney for the commission because the civil attorney for the commission, their whole point is representing that commission that represents you. My fiduciary obligation tells me that I've got to get you the best counsel I can, and I did, and I'm proud of it.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Yes, thank you. One of the first things I'll do when I'm elected is to cancel the contract with Attorney Scott Graham. The County of Delta has a great MMRMA attorney. They work very well with the county, and they've provided great services over the last few years. Lauren Wickman has come to many meetings and given her synopsis of the prosecutor's office and the things they've been able to complete. They are not overwhelmed. I believe that if a commission votes to double the prosecuting attorney's stipend from $6,000 a year to $12,000 a year, and in the same meeting vote to hire a municipal attorney to replace her, that is not in the best interest of the citizens of Delta County. Also, I would just like to add that earlier it was stated by it's been stated in the past, I should say, that things haven't been able to be accomplished because of the ruckus of the mob in the audience. However, after doing some extenuating research, 15 hours over 10 months was spent on Scott Graham discussions. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question is going to go to Candidate Petersen. Candidate Petersen, are there needs in the community that are not being adequately met at this time? Can you suggest areas where the county could do more?
Well, there are many needs in the county. As I've stated numerous times, housing is a big issue, and that's one that I'm following. And again, one of the things that was mentioned is I came into being a county commissioner as a conservative, and my thoughts were, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna find where there's too much fat in my cut. It didn't take me long to realize that there is not much fat. We are shorthanded. Our people are underpaid. The trick to it, to fixing that problem, is to do it in a conservative manner. I tell people, I want to take and boost everybody's salary, or most everybody's salary in Delta County, the county workers. But I don't want to boost their salary and come back in a year and say, the economy's taking a dive and we need to cut the fat, so we're going to have to get rid of you. I want to do it in a reasonable and intelligent manner. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
Would you please restate the question?
Yes. Are there needs in the community that are not being adequately met at this time? And can you suggest areas where the county could do more?
Well, there's always needs that are going to be in our community. That's one thing that we aren't going to run out of, but we need to address these needs in a very positive manner, in that why a lot of times we address a need, and what we're doing is we're working on an effect rather than looking at the cause. A lot of these needs are basically because there's a cause, and we haven't really done the work to address causes. If you can solve one cause, you can take care of almost an infinite number of effects. And that's one thing I've seen is we keep working on the effects, and you can do that for eternity, and you're still not going to solve the problem. Those needs generally need to be addressed through what created those needs and what's the cause. And we need to put more effort on figuring out what the cause is. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
Could you repeat the question, please?
Are there needs in the community that are not being adequately met at this time? Can you suggest areas where the county could do more?
The needs are all over the place. The housing, why was there 70 unit not done? The 45 unit not done? Was it because of grants not being written, lost? Were they not due on a proper time? There is going to be need in our community for most anything. You do need to look at what's happening, what's the cause, and then you need to address that. I know Billerud was supposed to be coming in, and then all of a sudden it was put on the back burner. Why was Billerud not going forward? We talked about tourism. Tourism brings in dollars to Delta County. So there's always going to be a need. There's always going to be a need for all of those. We just have to work together. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
Yes, 80% of the people in our county jail have a diagnosed mental illness or mental need. First of all, mental health is something that we have to get behind as a county. Pathways has been eviscerated. We're paying $50,000 a year to feed, clothe, medicate an inmate, but we're cutting back on social workers at the public school level. That's one thing. 1 month after being elected chairman, I sat in Dave Xavier's office. I said, what can we do? I want to get you another VSO. We moved, he changed gears on us twice because he's got to really be sure of what's going on. But rest assured, we were on this in 2023 early, and we're going to send you some bond language so you can approve that. I am confident you will. Also, getting the county employees up to a competitive wage is a slow process, and like Commissioner Petersen said, we have to do it judiciously. We're not going to raise your taxes. That's not going to happen. We're going to look outside the box to increase your revenue streams for the county, but slowly but surely, we will get our people up to snuff with their wages. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
I believe that the number one issue that needs are not being met is with our homeless population. We have seen hope at the end come and go with no remedy for our homeless population. As we deal with mental health issues, as Commissioner Moyle just stated, as we deal with opioid pandemic and the results of that, as we deal with the evisceration, like he said, of pathways. I will wholeheartedly agree with him on that. I believe that our homeless are being left behind, and I see them every day, and there is nothing being done. While I don't believe it's a direct solution that should be held at the county level, I believe that we can be leaders in creating a solution, and I look forward to helping with that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, one of the things that there's always going to be needs throughout the county and any society. We're not a utopian society where everything is perfect. So we're always going to have those needs. Mental health everywhere in the country is one of those that's suffering. Pathways, like they've said before, being eviscerated. That's true. So even though that may be something we don't directly fund in mass for that, we can be that leader to move forward. That housing market that we're looking at that we're short, that starts by making this place a destination. I'm involved in 2 different volunteer organizations that helps bring people here and gives them something to do while they're here. That's the basis. When we start to have that economic growth, we also have that housing, but it's a double-edged sword because you're not going to get people to come in and build our businesses if there isn't housing, but you're not going to have the housing without that other economic growth. That's why it's so important to give people a destination and grow your small businesses here. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question will begin with candidate Barron. Candidate Barron, what is your understanding of DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion? What is your view on whether or not DEI requirements should impact the county's support for funding of local programs?
DEI is an academic exercise that has been spreading into the communities across. It is, but basically it's the third in 3 swings from the academic area from universities across this country. And the first one was political correctness. Some may remember that was, we're still dealing with the remnants of that. The second was affirmative action. And now this is their third swing at us. I suppose they think the third is the charm, but DEI is basically wants equality in outcomes, which basically means the destruction of excellence, of merit. And our society, our country was built on that. DEI is taking us in a direction it wants to eliminate capitalism, and it will eliminate in some of their individuals that push it want to eliminate property rights, rights in general, because the government knows best and is going to tell the rest of us how to do. So we're going to be basically sitting a society of the rulers and the ruled. DEI is not a positive thing whatsoever. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
My understanding of DEI is that it is for everyone to have a safe workplace, or if you are disabled, if you are whatever, it goes down and breaks up into that. To me, DEI is just a safe way to make sure that everybody is treated the same. And no matter what nationality, what sex, what religion they believe in, all that, disability. And yes, I believe your second part was if.
What is your view on whether or not DEI requirements should impact the county's support for funding of local programs?
The way I understand that question is because the county commissioners voted twice, once with UPCAP, to not accept their stuff. Thank you.
We are asking the head of MSUE to come in at a meeting, and so he can explain what's going on. So, DEI. Martin Luther King said, "Judge me for the content of my character, not the color of my skin." Universities all over this country and next door in Wisconsin doing the same thing. They are moving away from this quite a bit. The university professors in the UW system booed it down. They compromised with Governor Evers, said we won't have DEI if we can have a raise. Okay, you cannot mandate outcomes. You're going to have somebody, a brain surgeon, a heart surgeon, operate on your child. You're going to want the best surgeon you can find, not the guy who was brought along because of essentially the amount of melanin in his skin. I mean, we are a melting pot of cultures. That's what makes this country great. But we cannot mandate equality because equity does not mean equality. The human condition will tell you that. I voted against the resolution from UPCAP simply because I don't think DEI is our future. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Can you repeat the question, Ms. Taylor?
I certainly can.
Thank you.
What is your understanding of DEI? And what is your view on whether or not DEI requirements should impact the county's support for funding of local programs?
Okay. DEI, diversity, equity, inclusion. My understanding of DEI, I'll just give a very plain example. You have 30 students in a class. You're taking a field trip to a football stadium and you have to climb bleachers, but you have one child that's in a wheelchair. Making accommodations for that one child in the wheelchair to ensure that that child has the same wonderful process as the other 29 children, to me, is what DEI is about. I do not believe whether or not a program offers DEI should be considered in the decision-making for the county. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Thank you. I've actually had the experience my entire military career. Our country is diverse, and being in the military is literally a complete cross-section of our entire country. There is not a part that's not represented that at some point in your career you're not working with. So the diversity part can actually make you stronger, providing it's not one where we're having to check a block just to fill it for a requirement for government. Everybody should have an opportunity to do anything they want to do. That's what one of the things this country's founded on. Doesn't mean everybody is absolutely equal. It's one of those that everybody has different abilities. Again, that goes back to the diversity portion. Do I think that should be part of a decision that we make in the county? No, it's not. I would support the other two, and if I had a question, I wouldn't be waiting and having them come in. I would go look at their policy to make sure what parts of it, because it's federally mandated as well as state mandated in most cases. It makes no sense to say no.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
All right, as far as diversity, equity, and inclusion, I do not disagree with diversity. The United States and the state of Michigan and Delta County, we are diverse. Do I think that there's prejudice? Yes, but do I think it's a large part? No. I think that for the most part, the people of the United States are not inherently racist or bigoted. I believe in equality of opportunity. I think everybody should have a chance. But as far as outcome, that's what people put into it. One of the examples that was brought to me was, I think it's Boeing, has been hiring and putting a lot of emphasis on the DEI. Do you want an airplane pilot that knows how to operate the plane or has melanin in his skin?
Thank you. All right, our next question is going to begin with Candidate Croasdell. Candidate Croasdell, what do you believe is the image of Delta County outside of the county? What can be done to improve this image if needed?
The image of Delta County outside of Delta County, is that what you asked?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not really sure about that. I've heard a few things, that they are watching Delta County very close. I don't know if that's quite the answer. That one I don't have a whole lot of information on for myself.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
Sure. Perception is reality. We have 209 miles of freshwater coastline. We are a beautiful county. We have trails and all sorts of activities for non-motorized activities. If somebody tunes into a county board meeting and they see some of the chaos going on there, you can say that makes the county look bad. I will remind you that when we became a sanctuary county, there were those who said it will make us look ghoulish. Yet Delta County per capita has issued more concealed weapons permits than any other county in the state of Michigan, so I rebut that logic. A good way to come together is to celebrate the fact that differences are good. But the county board has been attacked, and it will defend itself. Various members are counterpunchers. I would rather get along with somebody. But there's only so much that you can put up with before you're going to defend yourself or counterpunch. So again, I will extend my hand for coffee if anybody wants to go get some coffee, and we'll talk.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Just going to ask you to repeat the question, please.
Sorry. What do you believe is the image of Delta County outside of the county? What can be done to improve this image if needed?
I would like to thank TV6 and News 19 for their coverage of the last 16 months during this recall. I think that by bringing this to light, we have gained a lot of traction, especially downstate. People are now contacting the Citizens for Ethical Leadership, asking them how to successfully recall. We're actually doing YouTube videos, tutorials on how-tos, because before we did this, there was very little information out there on to how successfully recall. I think that the second part of your question was how to improve, is that correct? The image? I think by having 5 commissioners who can agree to disagree, who give each other the floor and the time to complete their thoughts. I think that going forward and being a calm voice, having very articulate speakers as our leaders is essential. I think, like I said earlier, we're on the precipice of something really great, and we just need those votes on May 7th to make it happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
I think when you look back and see the lack of decorum that happens on a given meeting, it's just downright disgraceful. And you hear that from people outside of this area. You know, and Kelli alluded to that. It's one of those that you have to be able to work together and actually give each other's their time that they need to be able to say what they want to say. And people are passionate about the various items that come up at a meeting. I mean, that's just the nature. And you know what? That's a good thing. It means people care. One of the things that I want to make sure goes back to is I want to hear what people have to say. You know, if that means reestablishing committee of the whole, then that's what we need to do. Because what the people's opinion are and what they want, that's what matters. That at the end of the day, that's who we're there to represent and take care of. So again, it's if we actually establish a calm and keep decorum among the board members, that actually keeps everybody else calm. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Could you repeat, please?
What do you believe is the image of Delta County outside of the county? What can be done to improve this image if needed?
Well, there is a lot of talk outside of the county. I've heard a lot of it, and I think as far as what's been said already, we give time for the citizens to talk. We give 3 minutes on agenda items, 3 minutes more at the end to say what they want. It's the in-between discussion that makes it hard to run a meeting. When people are not giving the county board members the chance to talk because of the noise that's going on outside, that makes it very difficult. And I think if the crowd would come in, talk when during their time, let us talk during our time, that would be probably the biggest way to improve the board's image and the county's image. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
As far as lack of decorum, I think that's absolutely correct. It's from the members of the audience, especially those that claim to be ethical. And so, because the board itself is functioning and doing quite a good job. Now, do we have some pretty heated discussions? Yes, we do, and that's part of the debate that we should have. So, other counties looking at us, I think it's been a very positive thing for others that have been watching, and we have quite a following on YouTube, that they're seeing how local governance is working. They're seeing the adversity that takes place at a meeting when you have an unruly segment of your crowd, and we've come a long ways in handling that very effectively, and that's because we've had to put policy in place because these people were not very kind and not very good citizens of what they've done. So, thank you.
Thank you. And we'll start our next question with Candidate Moyle. Candidate Moyle, what vision do you have for our county parks? How would you fund and implement that vision?
Well, my vision for the parks is to take a look at what they were at 2010, which you couldn't drag me with wild horses to use the bathroom at Pioneer Trail Park, to now, where it's a destination. We've got Wi-Fi, new bathhouses. We did that with an excellent handshake relationship. I was at the meeting when Tom Ellegert and Dave Schultz, God rest both of them, said to Rory Mattson, you do something with it or we're shutting them down. O.B. Fuller Park was a place where kids partied until all hours. So our parks were in bad shape. We thought outside the box. We got new pavilions put in for free, and it was large to do with Mr. Mattson and the Soil Conservation District. There's been talk of nefarious activities. There's no evidence for that. It's because it didn't happen. By the way, our committee of the whole still, we haven't taken that away. It happens every month. The parks need to be maintained as a destination because we made them a destination. We've got Steve Weary in there, and we're moving forward at O.B. Fuller Park. We're moving to try to do our next round of improvements. So we're going forward, baby.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
We all know the story of the parks and what a horrible state they were in and how wonderful they are now. And Rory Mattson did his job. He was compensated for that job. And yes, our parks are a destination. I look forward to working with Steve Weary, our new parks manager, and the new staff that's going to be hired. By the way, there are 3 parks employment opportunities available on the county website. You can go to deltacountymi.gov, and those 3 seasonal positions are available for anyone who might want to apply. I think that the parks can continue to be a destination. I think that they will be handled well under the direction of Mr. Steve Weary, who has many years of experience within the county and the Soil Conservation District. I would also like to add that I would like to be able to mend bridges with our Soil Conservation District and have them involved with our Cornell Forest. I think that a bridge has been burned with the current commission, and I want to see it rebuilt. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Yeah, that's true. Everybody knows where the parks were to where they are now. That's not even in dispute. Are they a destination? Well, if you live here, who outside of our area knows of our parks? That's something that we have to be able to market outside to get people here. Then it's a destination. We have a wonderful forest area, and yes, the original intent was to be able to create a sustainable, renewable forest for a revenue stream for the county, but that's also a wonderful area. You know, a good opportunity with that right now is Bay College has a brand new forestry program. That's a time to partner between the county and the college. You have a forestry program that's going on. Get those young people that are out there into our forest area. And you know what? Now you also give people another reason to stay here in Delta County versus leaving. So, you know, you have high schools or various schools throughout the area. Some of them have their own outdoor classrooms now. Here's an opportunity for those schools in an area that we can actually bring in together and do something consolidated as schools. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Well, I happen to be on the Parks and Rec Committee as the representative. And yes, the parks are great. And we do bring people from out of the area come to stay at our parks. They have come a long way. We have projects going on right now that'll advance them even farther. We're looking at a picnic area out at Fuller Park that's going to have a pavilion, and it's going to have picnic tables, going to have, in time, it's going to have a playground, and it'll have access to the beach. As far as our county forest goes, I'm up there quite often. I probably go up there a couple of times a month just to check and see how things are going. Like I said, I'm a very involved person. And when we were looking at the picnic area for Fuller Park, I actually went out and helped mark out where the picnic area would be. I met with the DEQ, which is now Eagle, out there to talk about any kind of soil and erosion problems or wetland problems. I'm very hands-on. And as far as, thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
Yes, as far as the parks are concerned, I've been a commissioner now for 40 months, and the attack on the parks, and especially the former manager, Rory Mattson, has been horrendous. And it's not an attack on the poor parks. It was an attack on success. And that's unfortunate because we see that so often in our society today. We're going to attack someone for doing a good job. And this has been an outstanding job. And the parks, and we're still taking attacks for even doing an improvement at Folder Park now. Those that were attacking over the last 40 months are still attacking, basically not wanting us to really do anything with it, because they seem to come across that man is a stain here and that man shouldn't be allowed to use our natural resources. The forest situation there is well set up and available to the public, and it's doing what it was originally intended to do. And I think we need to continue on that path as we have in our parks. We need to continue improving those. Thank you.
Thank you. And candidate Croasdell?
As far as our parks go, they are 100% better than what they were prior to the conservation district taking them over and getting everything cleaned up and getting them to be used in the baths and the shower stalls and stuff like that in there. As far as the Cornell Forest, the last that I knew about it, that it was still gated off, that there was a new compromise or a new direction that they were going to take for that. That is something that I would like to get more knowledge of. I have reached out to several people to gain that knowledge, but have not heard back from them. So to my knowledge, the Cornell Forest is still gated off. I don't believe that it is as public access as others think it is. Thank you.
Thank you. And our next question starts with candidate vanGinhoven. Candidate vanGinhoven, there has been a great deal of concern about potential disruption by audience members during board meetings and the subsequent response to such issues during meetings. How would you approach this issue as a commissioner?
Ignore. I believe that when a crowd starts whispering and they're gavelled out and yelled decorum, decorum, I think it brings more attention to the issue. The funny thing is that I've heard this mentioned several times over the last 15 months is how outrageous the mob is. However, if you watch the YouTube meetings, you cannot see the audience. You only see the commissioners. Gavel, gavel. You're out of order. You're out of order. I'm going to count to 3. If you don't respond, if you don't stop, I'm going to call public safety. Oh, it's no reason to.
Just remember to stick just to answering the question and not addressing any actions with other candidates.
Oh, okay. Apologies. So yes, to reiterate, I would simply ignore the crowd and continue with the business of the county.
Thank you. Candidate Jensen?
Let me start by first saying in my previous elected office in 4 years, even having some very large crowds, not once did I ever have to threaten somebody to leave or call the sheriff's department to have somebody escorted out. That's one of those when you're actually use a calm voice, and you know what? If that doesn't work and they're still standing there, ignore them. Because guess what? They're going to sit down, especially when you go to the next person in order. The more attention you keep attracting to it, the more it's going to happen. So again, I think it's gotten to the point now where it's a focal point for people, even on something that would normally you wouldn't think twice of being a whisper, to now that they're expecting that the heavy-handedness to come down. I don't believe in that. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Yes. In the first place, a lot of our meetings were far more than whispers. And as far as the YouTube excuse of not being able to, that it doesn't show anything, there is no microphone in the back of the building. There is no cameras in the back of the room. So the noise is not heard through the YouTube because it's not picked up at, all the YouTube and the camera picks up is just the commissioners themselves. It's been a difficult 15 months to manage these meetings. I'm very proud of Commissioner Moyle, Chairman Moyle, for the work he's done. We are starting to get them back under control. We had to get an opinion on whether we had the ability and the right to excuse people from the meeting. And once we started doing that, things started to calm down a little bit. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
Well, obviously that having this question indicates that that's been noticed by others, that there is this disarray that takes place in the audience at times. But some of these answers I come across is that there's a phrase out there, social deviance rises to the level of social acceptance. You don't accept people being unruly and rowdy in a crowd. You're running a public meeting to do the public's business. And ignoring them is not doing justice to anyone, because it is disruptive when you're up at that board meeting trying to get something accomplished and people are, quote, whispering in voices about 80, 90 decibels. So, yes, I think we've come a long ways, and that's, I think, can be proven by people going to the YouTube and looking at some of our most recent meetings, even in the last few months. There's been a significant change, and I think that's because of a stronger hand and a strong leadership. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
I would just ignore them, not feed into, if there is an angry mob in the back, I would not feed into it, because then you're just going to cause the commotion even more. The last person that I would have ejected out of a commissioner's meeting is a lady who is deaf. And the person that was next to her was explaining to her what the commissioners were speaking about. I do want to say this, as far as the YouTube and not seeing the crowd and only seeing the commissioners, as Kelli vanGinhoven was talking about, I would bring back Zoom, so that way everybody in the room who is in attendance and who is with the commissioners would be able to be seen. Thank you.
I have never gavelled anybody for whispering. In fact, I tried the ignore approach until I was F-bombed and flipped off, and it became so out of control, the work of the people was in danger of not getting done. So we had to have a policy crafted that offers a couple of warnings. It's not Dave Moyle being heavy-handed, because I'll say you're out of order, you're out of order. And eventually, we had to have, not me, but the commission voted to expel 2 separate people who knew very well what they were doing. They were arguing with me. I was like, you're out of order, sir. I don't want to eject you. If I ask someone to leave the room, the commission votes straight up and down. They either override me or that person leaves the room. You cannot ignore someone who is intentionally trying to disrupt the meeting because they want to gain politically from that disruption. As far as the deaf woman goes, or the woman who is deaf, I would remind you that I'm visually impaired. I could hear things back there, but I couldn't see what was going on. And it wasn't that woman that I had a problem with. It was people hollering in. I was set up, but I'm not given the same level of respect to somebody who's deaf because of my vision. No, that was done intentionally.
Thank you. We have now come to the final minutes of the candidate forum for the recall election for the Board of Commissioners, when the candidate will be given 1 minute to make a closing statement. Candidate Jensen, you will be first to go. You have 1 minute, and you may begin.
Thank you. One of the other things here in Delta County, I'm very involved in our community, whether that's the astronomy group that we're trying to replace the Planet Walk that'll happen here in June, whether that's UP Military Museum. That's a destination. That's something that's out there. That's something I worked with from the very beginning, and I'm very proud of that fact. I'm with groups that do our first responding here in the county. I'm all around in the county. I'm actively engaged with different people in those different organizations regularly. It's one of those where after time, and you have, like, after my time in the military as an elected official and a small business owner, you get to meet a very large group of individuals. And you know what? It's when you start to reach those individuals are the ones that reach out to you, and those are the ones that say they have problems. And that's why coming up, I know I can fix those issues and those problems that they've addressed and to continue to move us forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Petersen?
Yes. In my 15 months of being a county commissioner, I have served on the EDA, Economic Development Authority, the Hannahville Task Force, the Fair Board and its subcommittees. I've served on the airport, the parks, QPAD, UPCAP, and I know I'm leaving a couple out. Like I said, I'm a very hands-on person. I get out there when people ask me for help. I get there to help them. We have helped the Fair Board incredibly. We gave them, helped them get a 10% discount in their insurance rates by bringing them under the umbrella of the county without costing the county any money. Saved them $10,000 there. We have helped them get 2 different grants, one for rebuilding restoring the show arena, and one for putting in new bathhouses. I have been active in trying to get the picnic area out at Fuller Park, and I will continue to serve this county and be hands-on and active. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Barron?
I want to thank the the League of Women Voters for this forum. And the people that are viewing in, I think they saw a distinct difference between the 3 of us that are on the commission today and our opponents. And that, too close or too far. Anyway, I think a very strong distinction. You do not ignore what people are doing, and as we've been accused of ignoring the people, and yet that was the advice that was put across tonight. No, in order to get the people's business done, it takes people that know what they're doing and have the knowledge and experience and ability to do it, and also are adult in their approach. I urge everyone to vote on the 7th. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Croasdell?
Yes, I'd like to thank everybody who put on this forum. It was my first time to either see this or be in on it. It was an experience. I thank you all. Just a little bit about myself. I have 25 years plus of board, sitting on boards. I sit on the Community Action Governing Board for 15 plus years. I sit on the Legal Services of Northern Michigan. I've been on that one for 10 years. No, I am not a lawyer. I have been very active in my community with Great Starts, with Head Start. I will be going this Saturday to the conservation to be doing their trees that they got delivered, helping out with that on Saturday. And I'll just keep on being active in my community that I love. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate Moyle?
I am proud to be one of the driving forces behind the Second Amendment sanctuary motion. Doesn't have the power of law, but it puts the sheriff and the prosecutor on warning. If you do something that's not constitutional, we will defund you. That's in that resolution. I'm proud to have defended prayer at the county board meetings. You don't have to pray if you don't want to, but inclusivity will not drive prayer away from the current county board. And I've made the statement. If you can't stand for the pledge, I can't stand you. Well, I'm giving out my phone number again, 906-235-8427. If we have differences and you're serious, I'll buy the coffee and we can talk. But what's gone on these last 15, 16 months has been by design, and it's not my design. I like it when the meetings are boring.
Thank you. Candidate vanGinhoven?
Thank you for having me this evening. Thank you for the opportunity to speak my ideas and my opinions about the things that have happened over the last 15 months. I am extremely proud of my Citizens for Ethical Leadership group who made this recall happen. 3,011 people in Delta County signed petitions in the 3 district to recall these 3 commissioners. I cannot wait until May 7th. I have done the legwork. I have done the homework. I'm ready to be your commissioner for District 4, and I look forward to seeing you all on May 8th. Thank you.
Thank you. Each of our candidates has now made his or her closing remarks. Thank you once again for participating in our forum this evening. The League of Women Voters has also provided an online voter's guide, which can be found at vote411.org. Vote411.org is a one-stop shop for election-related information. It provides nonpartisan information to the public. It is already available. A recording of tonight's forum will be available on the Delta County League of Women Voters webpage at lwvdeltacounty.org. Instructions for voting in the May 7th, 2024 recall election. The candidate receiving the highest number of votes in the recall election is elected for the remainder of the term. Citizens should cast their vote for the candidate they wish to see win and serve in the seat and hold the partial term ending on December 31st, 2024. We hope that the audience has found this evening informative and helpful in determining for whom they will vote. Please make your voice heard by voting in the Tuesday, May 7th election. The polls will be open from 7 a.m. until 8 p.m. For those unable to be present at the polls on Tuesday, May 7th, absentee ballots may be picked up at your township or city clerk's office. Please call them for more information. Absentee voters are encouraged to return their ballots as soon as possible, but every ballot will be counted if received by 8 p.m. on May 7th. If you need additional election information, call your city clerk's office. Please note that due to a recent court ruling, you will also need to present a picture ID when voting or fill out an affidavit stating that you do not have a picture ID. We would like to thank the City of Escanaba for the use of council chambers and broadcasting the program, and thank you to our local media for publicizing tonight's forum, and special thanks to our audience for your participation. Before ending tonight, we, the Delta County League of Women Voters, would also like to remind our viewers that if you find our forums informative and you believe that voter participation is not a spectator sport, we urge you to join us. We are always open to new members. Any interested man or woman can contact us at deltacountylwv@gmail.com. For the American Association of University Women and the Delta County League of Women Voters, who sponsored this evening's forum, I'm Shannon Taylor. Thank you and good night.